Welcome to MAT 2LB, booklet number 9, fractions part 2, lesson number 4, dividing fractions to proper fractions. So here we are, we've completed 3 lessons on multiplying fractions, and you'll see shortly why we did multiplying fractions first, since we'll need the steps involved in multiplying fractions for dividing fractions. So without further ado, let's get to example number 1. Divide the following two proper fractions. 1/4 divided by 2/5. Now, dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by its inverse. So that's our step number 1. We're going to rewrite this by taking division by a fraction and rewriting it as multiplication by the inverse of that fraction. Now we have an acronym to help us remember that, and that acronym is KCI. So I'll show you how that works. We are going to keep the first fraction, and that's going to be our k. So we're going to keep that one. We are going to change the division sign to multiplication, and we are going to invert the second fraction, which means to flip it upside down. So I'm going to write that out real quick. That is KCI, which stands for keep the first fraction, so 1/4. Change division to multiplication, which I'll do now, and invert the second fraction, which is 2/5. Now from here, we complete this like any other multiplication of fractions question, where we have 1 times 5, that will give us 5, over 4 times 2, and that will give us 8. So I'm going to rewrite that. That's our answer so far. We'll go check the factor chart and see if there are any factors common to both 5 and 8. And we look, there's 5, there's 8, and they only have 1 in common. So we are just going to leave that as it is. So our answer is going to be 5/8 for 1/4 divided by 2/5. Let's take a look at example number 2. Example number 2 says, divide the following two proper fractions, 1/3 divided by 4/6. So again, we are going to keep our first fraction. We are going to change division to multiplication, and we are going to invert our second fraction. So let's rewrite that now. 1/3, that's the one we keep. Change division to multiplication and invert 4/6 to become 6/4. From here, multiplication of our fractions, numerator by numerator, 1 times 6 gives us 6. And our denominators, 3 times 4 will give us 12. So let's rewrite that. That's our answer so far. We're going to go over to our factor chart and see what factors are common to both 6 and 12. So let's jump over there, have a look. There's 6, there's 12, so they have 1 in common, 2 in common, 3 in common, and then 6 in common. So 6 is going to be the one we're going to use. We are going to divide both our numerator and our denominator by 6. And that is going to give us 6 divided by 6 gives us 1, and 12 divided by 6 gives us 2. So our answer in this question is going to be 1/2, or 1/2. What I'd like you to do now is hit pause in the video and give example A a try on your own. Again, remember, KCI, if we are dividing two fractions, we're going to keep the first fraction, change from division to multiplication, and invert the second fraction. So you give example A a try on your own. When you got it, come on back. We'll see how you did. All right, let's get a look. We have 1/6 divided by 3/4. We are going to keep the first fraction, change division to multiplication, and invert the second fraction. So let's do that now. 1/6 times 4/3 equals. From here, just like multiplying regular old fractions, 1 times 4 will give you 4, over 6 times 3 will give you 18. So let's rewrite that. That's our answer so far. 4/18. Let's head over to the factor chart and see if there's anything common to both 4 and 18. When we do that, we'll realize that 2 is common to both 4 and 18. So we'll divide both numerator and denominator by 2. That will give us 2/9, or 2/9 as the answer for example A. So what I'd like you to do now is hit pause in the video, try example B on your own. When you've got an answer, come on back and we'll see how you did. Alright, let's get a look at example B. 2/5 divided by 6/10. So this is a division question with fractions. We are going to keep the first fraction, change division to multiplication, and invert the second fraction. So let's rewrite that now. 2 over 5 times 10 over 6 equals. Now this is just multiplication. Like every other multiplication with fractions question, we have 2 times 10, which will give us 20, and denominator times denominator, or 5 times 6, which will give us 30. So let's rewrite that answer. That's our answers so far. We've got 20 over 30, and we go to the factor chart, and we see that the greatest factor common to both is going to be 10. So we're going to divide both numerator and denominator by 10. That will give us 2/3 as our final answer. So that's the end of lesson number 4. Again, we've learned a new concept here, so make sure you're comfortable with the series of steps that will help you divide fractions before you head off to the worksheet. Again, if you're dividing fractions, we're going to keep the first fraction, change division to multiplication, and invert the second fraction. That's our procedure. Good luck on the worksheet, and we'll see you in lesson number 5.